The Bhattacharya tried to defend himself and his Mayavada school by jugglery of logic and grammar, but the Lord defeated him by his forceful arguments. The Bhattacharya was officially a follower of the Shankara school, so naturally, and he was a very logical person. So he tried to use logic to try to defend his Mayavada misinterpretations. But the Lord, using superior logic and with superior scriptural references, simply ransacked his bogus philosophy and bulldozed over him with his forceful arguments. He affirmed that we are all related with the personality of Godhead eternally, and that devotional service is our eternal function in exchanging the dealings of our relations. The result of such exchanges is to attain prema, or love of Godhead. When love of Godhead is attained, love for all other beings automatically follows, because the Lord is the sum total of all living beings. These are the three topics of the Vedas. What is the truth, the most important truth that is taught in the Vedas? The most important truth is Krishna Sambandha. We are all eternally related with Krishna. Everything is eternally related with Krishna. Krishna is a supreme independent person, and we are all eternally dependent on him. The spiritual world is dependent on him. The material world is dependent on him. The living entities who comprise his marginal potencies, we are also eternally dependent on him. We all have this relationship with Krishna of of uh, servant master relationship, a dependent independent relationship. We are dependent on him, who is independent of us. Uh, so this is Krishna Sambandha Tattva. What is the goal to be attained? We all need to attain a certain goal. The Vedic scriptures point out that that is Krishna Prema. We need to attain pure love for Krishna. Now, what is love for Krishna? This is love for Krishna. Chaitanya Charitamrita, Adi 4.165. Atmendriya Pritivan Chat Tare Bolikam. Krishnendriya Priti Chat Dhare Premanam. Desires for the pleasure of one's own senses, I call that lust. Krishna's Kaviraj Goswami is saying the desire for the pleasure of Lord Krishna's senses, that holds the name love. The desire to gratify one's own senses is kama, lust, but the desire to please the senses of Lord Krishna is prema, love. So this is the goal. The goal for all conditioned living entities is to attain pure love of Godhead. The liberated status is factually one in which we are having exclusive love for Krishna. Right now, as conditioned souls, we don't have such desires, and therefore, this is our goal. This is also called prayojana. What is the means for that? The abhidaya or sadhana. The means for that is Krishna bhakti. Krishna bhakti in this context refers to sadhana bhakti, activities using our senses by which we can attain uh, pure love for Krishna. Here is Srila Rupa Goswami's famous, clear description of what Krishna Bhakti factually is, sadhana bhakti, what it is. Kriti sadhya bhavet sadhya bhava sa sadhana bida nitya siddhasya bhavasya prakatyam hridi sadhyata. When transcendental devotional service by which love for Krishna is attained is executed by the senses, it is called sadhana bhakti, or the regulative discharge of devotional service. Such devotion eternally exists within the heart of every living entity. The awakening of this eternal devotion is the potentiality of devotional service and practice. So the idea is when we engage in devotional service and practice Krishna Bhakti, then we can attain Krishna Prema, which exists in our heart in a dormant state, which exists in a dormant manner in our heart right now. When love of Godhead is attained, love for all other beings automatically follows, because the Lord is the sum total of all living entities. What does this mean? What this means is when one attains full love of Godhead, then automatically attains a compassion for all living beings. This is a point that comes up in the Srimad Bhagavatam, canto after canto, again and again and again. Yasyasya bhaktir bhagavatya kinchana sarvair gunais satra samasate surah. When one attains love of Godhead, when one attains pure devotional service to Krishna, then one attains all the good qualities that are found in the Lord's Lord's own personality as well as in the demigods. So one attains compassion for all other beings, uh, because the Supreme Lord, when you satisfy Him, then you automatically start thinking about satisfying everyone who are His children, who are connected to Him. Srila Prabhupada used to give the example that when a woman marries, she automatically starts to, we are talking of a religious couple here. So then automatically the woman, after marriage, she starts thinking about the welfare of all the people who are connected to her husband. For instance, she becomes compassionate towards the younger sister of her husband, and so on. This is very natural. Uh, Similarly, when we attain affection for the Supreme Personality of Godhead, then we attain appropriate affection for all those to whom Krishna has his affection. The Lord said that, but for these three items, namely eternal relation with God, exchange of dealings with Him, and the attainment of love for Him, all that is instructed in the Vedas is superfluous, and that any other explanation of the Vedas is concocted. Now, eternal relation with God, this is Krishna Sambandha Tattva, knowledge that we have an eternal relationship with God. God is our eternal master, and we are his eternal servants, and we cannot deny him uh, for our own self fulfillment. We need to actually satisfy him. That is our eternal position. We cannot deny this. Exchange of dealings with him, this actually refers to um, Krishna Bhakti, Sadhana Bhakti, which actually consists of an exchange of dealing with him. An attainment of love for him is Krishna Prema. These are the prime teachings of the Vedas. Amnayah Praha. These are proclaimed in the Vedas. These are the central teachings of the Vedas. Anything that is anything else uh, that is taught or that appears to be taught in the Vedas outside of these three topics, outside of these three themes, outside of these three instructions, you can say, outside of these three domains, outside of these three ideologies, um, anything that is presented in the Vedas, anything else that is superfluous. What is the meaning of this? Are the Vedas cheating us? No, they're not actually cheating us, but they are talking about things which are not factually needed in order to attract our attention to acceptance of Vedic authority. Look at this, Srimad Bhagavatam 11.346, Rochanartha Palashrutihi. The promises of material results given in the Vedic scriptures are for the purpose of giving encouragement to the living entities. Uh, the material fruitive results offered in the revealed scriptures are not the actual goal of Vedic knowledge, but are meant for stimulating the interest of the performer. The idea is that when we find several statements which are found in the Vedas, which seem to be promoting sense gratification, uh, what do we make out of it? The majority of the Vedas talk about how to attain the heavenly planets and so on. So, what does it mean? We understand Parmakaraniko Vedaha. Vedic knowledge is supremely merciful because Veda is like a mother and she is trying to gradually purify us over lifetimes and bring us from an animalistic platform to a human platform and give us the eligibility to move up, to move up in life, to move up in one's transcendental existence. The words Rochanartha Phalashruti clearly indicate that the fruitive results promised in the Vedic literature are meant to stimulate a materialistic person to have faith in the Vedic injunctions. The example is given that a child may be offered candy covered medicine. The child becomes enthusiastic to take the medicine because of the candy coating, whereas a mature person will be enthusiastic to take the medicine itself, knowing that such medicine is meant for his real self interest. The mature platform of Vedic understanding is mentioned in the Brihadaranyaka Upanishad. Tametam Vedano Vachanena Brahmana Vividishanti Brahmacharyena Tapasa Shraddhaya Yagyena Anashakena Cha. By the teaching of the Vedas and by celibacy, penances, faith, and controlled eating, great Brahmanas come to know the Supreme. They come to desire to know the Supreme. The Supreme is Krishna, as stated in Bhagavad Gita. Although the prescribed rituals of the Vedas may sometimes resemble material fruitive work, the activity is spiritualized because the result is offered to the Supreme. Candy covered medicine and ordinary candy may appear or taste the same, but the candy covered medicine has a therapeutic effect not found in ordinary candy. Similarly, the words Naishkarmyam Labhate Siddhim in this verse indicate that a faithful follower of the Vedic injunctions will gradually be promoted to the highest perfection of life, pure love of God, as stated by Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, Prema Pumartho Mahan. So, the idea presented here is that because we are interested in so many superfluous uh, ideas, so many superfluous things, we are interested in Kama, Artha, Dharma, we are interested in impulsive liberation, we are interested in so many things, we don't know how to attain it. So the Veda comes forward like a mother and says, oh, you're thirsty for all these things. I'll teach you how you can attain all these things. Just as a child may desire not to go to school, but and may not trust the mother also, but may be desiring so many sweetmeats, so many candies. So the mother comes forward and says, all right, fine. You just need to do a little bit of, you just need to go to school for a little while, and then I'll give you this candy. I'll give you one candy now. If you go to school and you come back, I'll give you four candies. And in order to prove that I'm capable of giving you candy later on, I give you candy right now. Here, be happy with this. Now, the mother has no intention of giving candy. She actually wants the child to go to school. Similarly, Vedic literature is also actually interested in teaching these three topics. Uh, this topic of Krishna Sambandha, Krishna Prema, and Krishna Bhakti. But we have no interest in these topics. We are averse to Krishna. We want to imitate Krishna. That is why we are here. So, Shruti, or the Veda, who's like a mother, she comes forward and says, oh, no problem. You just engage in mixed devotional service to Krishna. Uh, Primarily, you may even be engaged in various activities of dharma, artha, kama, and you, you, by doing this, you will understand that I'm trustworthy. I'm trustworthy. But later on, there is a possibility that you may understand what I'm teaching in reality. So, Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, as a Supreme Father, comes forward and explains this is actually the main teaching of the Veda. Everything else is superfluous. They are superfluous because we are superfluous in our desires. And the Veda, in order to attract our attention to Krishna, uh, she apparently, in order to trap us to our own real self interest, she teaches all these things. Um, and that any other explanation of the Vedas is concocted. If you try to provide any other explanation of the Vedas, if you say that the Vedas are teaching anything outside of these three topics, and that everything else that is apparently presented in the Vedas, which may be 95% of the Vedic content, apparently, but that is superfluous, and it is meant for an audience who are interested in fulfilling their superfluous desires. So if you come up with any other philosophy of what the Vedas are teaching, then that idea is a concoction. It is not factual reality. It is not founded on a consistent understanding of the teachings of the Vedas as it has been coming down through an unbroken chain of disciplic line. The Lord further added that the Mayavad philosophy taught by Sripad Shankaracharya is an imaginary explanation of the Vedas, but it had to be taught by him, Shankaracharya, because he was ordered to teach it by the personality of Godhead. This is a false teaching of what the Vedas are purporting to mean, but Lord Narayan had instructed him to say so, and therefore he was simply carrying out Lord Narayan's instructions.